This week on Barbell Shrugged, we talk about how to gain weight, all right? So, Chris Moore is here showing us what we eat to gain weight.
Baby flesh. Oh, come here.
This week on Barbell Shrugged, we're talking about
Getting huge.
And we are doing it in Chris Moore's new office.
Yes, we are.
Welcome to the office of Chris Moore, CTP.
Welcome to this week's venue for
Glad you could join us.
Barbell Shrugged. This is a gentleman's edition of the podcast.
That's right. We're sipping on our
I don't have
coffee.
Amazon, I haven't checked if they have like a 2-for-1 deal on smoking jackets. Nice leather. What do they make them out of? Is it a silk? Is it a suede? Can you get both? What are the options for smoking jackets?
I have
nowadays?
no idea. No.
We're going to get a pair. I'll keep a fine assortment of gourmet tobaccos. I'll get pipes that match, and we'll do the show next time with all the proper setup.
That's the only way to do it.
You got to do it proper.
Makes perfect sense.
Do it right or go home.
All right. So this week we have myself, Mike Bledsoe, and Chris Moore as your hosts.
Shall we say that this brings back warm, fuzzy memories for me? Hopefully it does for you too.
It does.
Because how did this show start?
Not many people know this because we have some unpublished podcasts that Chris Moore and I did in his office over a year ago, audio only. And maybe one day we'll release them.
Well, they're audio only. They are in my old office. And then they are in the local coffee shop. What's that one over
Republic.
there? Republic Coffee. Yeah. So it's us sharing a couple of lattes, or me sharing a latte because I don't care about the paleo thing all the time. You having some sort of cup of tea or something. And then your USB microphone you bought that was very advanced for us at the time, planted right in the middle. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what we talked about. We just kind of
we talked about training ideas, but it was.
I think they were pretty good. CTB recalls them more and more.
I actually
used to deliver pizzas and
I loaded him up on his phone for him, and he listened to him while I delivered pizzas, and he goes, "This is actually really interesting." I'm like, "Well,
shall we offer our very lovely, very appreciated fans the chance to, like, if they create a little buzz around those, that we will release them if there's interest?
I think we should put them maybe on the simple string as a bonus or something.
Oh snap! That'd be cool.
All right, guys, let's get this show started. Enough rambling. First, I want to send out a little reminder. If you're on Facebook, which I know most of you are, make sure to go on there and like our fan page. Also, follow us on Twitter. You can find us on Twitter just at Barbell Shrugged.
So then each of our little handle names are flash before you.
Yeah,
during the intro of the sucker.
CTP will make that happen. Do that so you can get notified of anytime we have a new Barbell Shrugged episode, daily BSs, new technique wads, and whatever else we have going on. Also, if you could, run over to iTunes for us and give us a 5-star rating. A lot of people did that for us last week,
and
it was fantastic.
Thank you so much. If I was with you now, I would hug you so hard.
We're actually in the top 20 for the fitness and nutrition portion of iTunes, and top 35 for health in general. So guys,
in the future when this airs, we could be number one.
Yeah,
because I will say right now that I think we are number one in the hearts and minds of many.
Yeah, if you like the show, go do this for us. We really appreciate it.
The more you help us take over the world, the more cool things we will offer, and the faster that will happen. We all together, we're more awesomer than us apart.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys that have been, supporting us so far, and we really do appreciate it. I want to just say thank you for that.
And people joining the conversation. It's really rewarding and awesome that we can kick up conversations, contribute good information, get good feedback to us. It's splendid and awesome.
Yeah, that's probably the highlight of my day now is being able to respond to people on Twitter and Facebook. It's a lot of fun.
That and your like 3-hour afternoon nap is the highlight probably. Because you like your recovery.
I do.
You
like my
find that
recovery.
important.
I do.
Yeah.
Just want to give you guys a little heads up. Chris, myself, and Doug will all be talking at the Garage Games event next month, or it's in 3 weeks now. By the way, Doug is gone. He's in San Francisco at a conference.
What
when
conference
he comes back,
will Doug go to?
he went to
Like big
Actualize is what it's called.
Is it some kind of like TED Talk?
Something like that. It's a week long of filling the brain with good knowledge. I'm
Did
sure
Did he convince you to pay for this?
Yeah.
God, it's a good gig.
I should have gone. So just to give you guys a heads up, if you're at the Garage Games, we actually are, just like we have Maximum Mobility, Simple Strength, and Faction Foods Nutrition course in the store on Barbell Shrugged website. We're also going to be putting out a business product. So if you run a CrossFit gym, this is going to be something that's going to help you get new members in the door and get people signed up in your gym. So we're going to be launching that at the Garage Games, and you'll be able to be the first ones to take a peek at it and get your hands on it.
And are you also doing a little lecture on business?
Yeah, I'll be actually talking about business. So I'll be answering a lot of questions.
If I listen to you at the Garage Games, let's assume I'm a novice and I don't know anything about business. Will I leave informed, empowered to succeed, emboldened to my career aspirations? Will I have a 5-year plan in my sights? What will I get out of it?
All the above.
Convince me that when I'm done, I'm just not going to go bail to the bar. So why should I stick around for you?
Well, you will learn something. If I'll tell you this,
I'll be there.
If your gym facility is making more than $50,000 a month, you may not learn very much. But if it's not making more than $50,000 a month, I probably have a nugget that is going to make you some money.
Maybe even 2 or 3 nuggets.
Right.
Maybe
Maybe
a pearl.
a pearl, not just a nugget, a pearl.
I'm trying to think, is a gold nugget worth more than a pearl? Or I'll sound like an idiot if I disagree with these guys. I'm taking my nuggets.
Depends on the size, of course, of the nugget or the pearl.
It depends on the size of your nuggets. Hashtag. Hashtag nuggets.
So
And Doug's doing some mobility instruction,
mobility.
which if you have ever checked out Doug's perspective on mobility, it's very... There's no one more informed on the topic, and there's no one as sort of smooth with executing than Doug in these realms, I think.
Very systematic in his presentation so that there is no holes or gaps left, where you're like, well, I don't really understand that. He filled all the gaps.
I always say to people,
Yeah.
if Doug could have been like an astrophysicist or a surgeon, he decided to focus on mobility and conditioning things and business things instead.
I've actually heard some of our fans refer to Doug as the scientist of the show. And that makes perfect sense. Now we've had 2 shows without him, so
I used to
everyone's gotten dumber.
I used to be a real scientist.
Used to be, but now look at you.
I'm just Chris now. And
All right.
should I say? I guess I say what I'm doing.
Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna let too many cats out of my bag, or whatever. But I'm gonna discuss where we've come from in this little community of ours, the ideas that we used to embrace and execute. Some okay, mostly terrible. Where we're at now and where we're going. I'm gonna share my perspective on how we could get to where we want to go quicker, more of a elegant, refined way that's more rewarding to us in the end.
Ooh,
That's gonna be the talk.
Ooh.
You heard it here first.
You will be enlightened. That's what it sounds like.
Basically, what I'm telling you is nobody on this planet bullshits like I do.
Enlightenment in an hour with Chris Moore.
Keeping it zen with your buddy Chris. Zen Chris.
So
I got the belly. I'm already
very Buddhist.
Yeah.
Buddhist.
Buddha.
Are we going to talk about anything of value?
This is all of value.
Yeah. All right. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to get big and strong.
In a novel approach.
Yeah, and there's a reason we want to talk about this. And I've been getting actually a lot of questions on Twitter about it and on Facebook. And a lot of people tend to, a lot of our fans anyway, tend to want to gravitate towards the strength side of things, but they have this fear of losing their conditioning.
Or they have a goal. Like most people think in their mind, like, okay, I've got to get huge because, I want to impress chicks. I want to move up to extra large t-shirt. I want to be stronger. I'm preconceived idea that being big and huge is awesome, which, okay, I'm not going to argue there. But I think the approach hasn't made much progress since the days of us consuming Flex magazine and doing, 3 to 5 sets of 10 to 15 reps on everything as if that was some sort of magical program. First, day one in the gym, bench, incline bench, dumbbell shoulder press, dumbbell Arnold press, tricep push down, tricep extension, tricep reverse French curls on a Bosu ball, and then all that for 5 sets of 15 always and forever. Well, okay, training, some ideas could be better. Shoving down your gullet 25 servings of highly sugary weight gainer like we all used to do, not the best strategy. Eating whatever you want like I did in the powerlifting days to get as big as possible, which I did to great effect. But in hindsight, I carried a lot of things I didn't want to carry so much of. There's a better approach. So, I think our understanding of this is that an experienced, evidence-based, comprehensive approach is really super effective.
I think, too, is a lot of times people, they'll start chasing the weight gain goal, and then they'll start to see some of their other things fall off. So if they're doing CrossFit and they're trying to gain weight, and all of a sudden their numbers are falling off on their conditioning, then they freak out and they go back to doing that. And I think that people have a hard time gaining muscle mass and gaining weight in general, first off, in a healthy way, because a lot of people just want to cram down more hamburgers in order to gain weight. And there are ways to do it and keeping it semi-paleo and healthy. And then the other thing is maintaining performance. So I think that a lot of people have an idea of how to gain weight and put on muscle mass, but they end up sacrificing across the spectrum a little too much.
And you made a good point that so you can gain a lot of weight quickly and you will get stronger. Like you're saying, there's health consequences, there's body composition issues. But then thinking of performance, yeah, you get a boost, but the long-term strategy is probably going to be best for you is if you don't give up on, always refining your mobility. If you do build higher quality body mass with time, if you do also keep a lot of balanced activities that keep you healthier for longer. I mean, in the long term, all that adds up to you being more successful anyway than just, okay, I'm going to eat. Like in my old powerlifting days, I knew a guy who ate like at the local Waffle House like 3 or 4 days or 3 or 4 times like a day. Like go in and get like pancake, eggs, bacon, going for lunch, like, 2 or 3 glasses of like chocolate milk and then like a patty melt and for dinner, steak and eggs or something because it's cheap and it's right there and it's super fatty. Or you go do the McDonald's diet, you slam like 2 or 3 bacon, egg, and cheese before you train in the morning because, hey, calories are calories and I'll just do whatever I want. And it's just like I remember stories of guys ordering like 2 large pizzas like every other day and not getting up from the table until it was all gone. Like those are all strategies that just aren't, they're ill-conceived to begin with and they just aren't that effective.
What's funny is I think both you and I have done that. And in the past, I remember I used to eat family-sized mac and cheese right before bed to gain weight.
The kind that took like 3 days to thaw and you microwave them and you put them in the oven and they got all crispy brown. And
no, not like that. Just out of the box, boil it up, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
one of us did that. That's pretty awesome still. Let's be honest.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've all been there. We've all done that. And actually, last year I did an experiment on myself and I actually kept it pretty paleo and gained a good amount of weight. It was the most high-quality weight I've ever gained. I put on a decent amount of muscle mass and size, and then I also got stronger really fast. And it's because I was putting on really high-quality weight and not just any weight I could find anyway. I wasn't focused so much on the weight on the scale, which was fun to look at, but I was really focused on creating as much high-quality mass as possible. And I think a lot of people, a lot of CrossFitters have the goal of one day going to the games or being really competitive. And they may weigh 190 pounds. They may be 5'8", 5'9", like, the ideal size CrossFitter, 5'9", 185 to 195 pounds.
Right, so they're taking a shallow view and just looking at numbers here.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I may weigh 185 pounds, but are you 185 pounds of muscle? Look at, the guys who go to the CrossFit Games. Are these guys 190 pounds and 10% body fat or 15% body fat? No. These guys are 195 pounds and they're like 6,
Rich is
7,
fairly lean, right?
yeah, 5, 6, 7% body fat. They're not.
So here's a big pearl so far in the show. Keep in mind, on a cursory view, you may be about the same size, but the quality of Rich Froning's body weight, his 190 is a know your 190.
Yeah, if you're walking around at 190, and your body fat is sitting around 12, 13, 14%, then you really probably weigh about 170.
That's the curious thing I've noticed. So a lot of CrossFitters don't appreciate in a true scope of things just how big Rich may be compared to them in terms of quality, size, and strength. There's a reason why he is clean and jerking what he clean and jerks, but also efficient enough to go do everything else he does. Skill's a big component, but physically he's more imposing than you would assume. And then from the other side of the coin, in my experience, like the powerlifting, strongman, weightlifting community, it's almost like sport to rib the CrossFit guys being weak, small, underpowered. Right. And actually, that really changed for me when I just observed what went down at the CrossFit Games and that clean ladder. So I'm thinking, okay, here's like a guy like Rich or Dan, those other guys. They've just done all that stuff they're doing, the little mini triathlon, all the competitions that are in between that day and like day 3 where the cleaning happens. Then they start with like almost an empty bar and work their way up to some guys cleaned like 365 pounds at that super high quality 200-pound body weight. I'm going, you know what? I don't know many people at all, even like fat, strong weightlifters and powerlifters who may be capable of that fresh. That's a really impressive feat. Yeah. So you're really looking at guys who are bigger and much stronger than you assume they are. Because I don't know anybody who could jump into that situation and do as well, really, with the strength they've got. I mean, it's really incredible. I've
had some questions where people are like, "Is this good for my weight, or is this good? Are these good strength numbers for CrossFit?" Yeah. I'm like, man, it's kind of the answer is usually it depends. But like, if you're not deadlifting over 500 pounds and squatting over 400, and if you can't clean and jerk,
you've got a chance.
If you can't clean and jerk 315 or snatch 250, 260. You're not going to the CrossFit Games anymore. There might be that.
There might be that local competition.
There might be those few guys that they may really be able to burn it on the the longer duration stuff, and they're able to do so well there. The freaks on the other side of the spectrum, they might be able to squeak in there, but they're not winning.
And dude, who's to say what it's going to be like in another year or two?
Yeah,
because go back in time 2 or 3 years, and if you could do a crappy clean with 100 kilos a few times, you weren't that bad strength wise. Now that's laughable.
Yeah, I think that if you want to be competitive, you have to seriously sit back and try to be objective about where you're at in your training, and decide if you need to get stronger or not. And that could possibly mean getting bigger as well. It doesn't have to be, but you have to sit back and go, do I need to get bigger and stronger? And can you get bigger and stronger while doing 5 Metcons a week? No, I mean, you might be able to, but not at the rate you need to. Do you want to go to the games in 2014 and still do like silly Metcons 5 days a week? You're just trying to have a good time.
Well, I think
like people want to do Metcons 5 days a week because they're fun.
Here's what I would tell the audience.
They need to sit down and really objectively look at their training and do a dedicated strength program for a while.
The real tricky thing here is that people don't understand how their own assumptions that they don't even recognize are sort of standing in their way. So we have all these ideas about what it takes to get strong and large, what's too big, what's too large, assumptions about how they're performing themselves. So you got to sort of break all that down and realize, okay, I need to challenge my preconceived notion about how I need to train, how I need to eat. Like a big thing I like is that you assume if you want to be big and strong or become a little more toned or muscular, depending on the audience, you think, well, I know the kind of things that big and strong people typically do. I do 3 sets of 15 on a bunch of stuff. I eat all these extra meals. But, that's not necessarily true. You can be plenty strong and prepared for just about anything and gain a lot of mass by doing like traditional weightlifting training. Like a high amount of work, strong explosive lifts, you can become very big and muscular and have enough strength to be prepared enough to resume Metcon training, maybe better than when you were before.
Yeah, I want to go back and clear something up real quick. Metcons aren't exactly silly. They're only silly if you're doing a lot of them and you're trying to get strong.
Yeah.
And Doug always talks about this is if you're not very strong and you've got a 315 deadlift for reps ahead of you, it's not a conditioning issue. It's a strength issue.
Oh, yeah.
And it only takes one of those in an event to throw you off.
Well, that and like I've always been really impressed with Doug because he takes that super still very, very novel idea for how he preps like his fights.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the typical fighting approach is, well, I do a bunch of road work, I run a bunch, I do endless repetitions with the jump rope, I do 1,000 sit-ups a day, and then I also do my fight training, which is all that same kind of thing, a lot of cardio heavy stuff. Then Doug approaches it, well, most of the time I'm working on moving better, being mobile, healthy, and then strength and power is a huge monumental focus. Lots of technique work, and then it really doesn't start drilling more specifically until it gets sort of really close, because you can get into fighting shape a whole hell of a lot quicker than you can develop these strength and power adaptations that take so damn long.
Here's an idea. Why don't you do some bag work and roll jiu-jitsu hard for your conditioning? I don't know if anyone listening who's done jiu-jitsu and like rolled hard, if you've ever rolled hard, that's about
dude. Let me tell.
That's the same. Roll hard for 3 minutes.
Have I ever told?
That's harder than rowing 500 for time. God.
Have I ever told the Arnold Classic story of my ventures into mixed martial arts? It probably hasn't been since the very beginning of the show. Maybe most people didn't catch that, but I went from 370 pounds at sort of the peak of my powerlifting career. Over a couple months, I kind of toned it down to like 330. Like, you know, I think I can be. Even then, I was like, I don't have to be so big. But then I got fed up with it, basically quit all things strength. And then from like November to the end of the next spring, I went from like 330, 320, like to 235. You remember that? I had an extreme weight loss. And then as I started coming back up.
You didn't do it. It wasn't like, I'm going to stop training as I lost weight. You actually utilized a system for losing weight while trying to maintain strength.
Yeah, a targeted approach towards when I would eat carbohydrates when I needed them, not all the time. I cut out all the things that, like, you know, eating 2 bags of popcorn every night before I went to bed. Because like, it's popcorn, it's no fat. I had very, very rough ideas.
You did something along the lines of like carb cycling.
Yeah, like I had a system where I was really crushing the carbs on days I trained, like 300-something grams of carbs a day, which I think that's about right. That seemed like a lot. I ate like 4 or 5 packages of pre-made rice a day with like 5 packages of tuna. My diet, well, it could have been improved 1,000 ways. But one thing I did to get my body a rest from powerlifting is I did that naga meet.
The jiu-jitsu.
So at the Arnold Classic, the North American Grappling Association has these really cool big meets. And one of the biggest ones is at the Arnold Classic. So I decided I would go in and compete novice. So we all hop in a car and go up there. I think you guys may have weightlifted.
Yeah, we competed in weightlifting that year.
Which we competing this year too, right? Some people. So if you're at the Arnold, go to the Arnold. Check out our
guys. We got a good amount of our team. The Faction Weightlifting Club is competing at the Arnold Classic.
There'll be some footage in CTP Cam at the end of this episode.
All right.
See, Arnold's a huge event. There's so many sports you can't even name them. One of them is this grappling, and it takes up a huge chunk of the hall. And there's a lot of people watching, a lot of athletes. So I got a wild hair at my butt. Like, okay, I'm a novice. I haven't done it. Let me go to this big national level competition where everybody with a pair and to get out there and do it is gonna do it. There was a lot of people in that show, like hundreds of people into this thing. It's like a come one, come all fight for a prize purse or something. It's like, who's the toughest wannabe grappler in the room? So I did that, and I went out. My first competitive event was against a very large gentleman. I got out there, I grabbed him, I wrestled him to the ground like it was a high school fight. I remember like getting underneath.
I think we have some footage of this somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's on YouTube. so I grabbed this poor guy with my bicep and forearm, like right around the top of his head. And I put my arm underneath his armpit and I grabbed like that. And I just squeezed his head into my deltoid with all my strength for like a minute and a half.
I remember we were watching him screaming like, no, you're putting it on wrong. And then we realized that you're probably going to just crush his head. We're like, no, keep doing what you're doing.
So he sat there and started flopping like a fish and kind of went numb. And then he tapped out. I was like, oh, wow, I won. I was gasping. The next guy actually had some skills. I did this, I think it was like 3 or 4 rounds of like 3 minutes of solid wrestling. And then by the end of that, I was more tired. I'd played college football and high school football my whole life, did a lot of tough drills. I had done wind gates and aerodynes and all that stuff, dude. Doing that amount of wrestling just for 3-minute blocks, like 5 times, I couldn't do anything for the rest of the day.
I've never seen you so tired in my life. It
I
was
was just
fantastic.
gasping like a dying fish on the deck of a. I was just done. It was the hardest thing, my hardest memory of anything I've ever done in my friggin' life. So yeah, if you are fit enough to roll with somebody for 30 minutes, you are about as fit as it gets, I think.
Most definitely.
You don't have any need or desire to have to go out and do, 5 hours of jogging a week. That won't help you at all. Just exhaust the hell out of you, wear your feet out.
All right, we're going to take a break real quick. When we do come back, we're going to talk about how we propose that you gain weight, and hopefully give you something you can use.
Technique WOD.
Check out the Technique WOD.
Welcome back to Technique WOD. Today we're going to talk about push presses. 2 things. First, I've had people ask me about my elbow position and my hand position. Number 1, your elbows need to be up, but they don't have to be up all the way like this. I'd like for you to ideally to be able to keep your hands closed, and for a lot of people that means that they're going to have to drop their elbows just a little bit. That's okay as long as the bar is still on your shoulders and it's not floating out in front of you like this. If you're trying to push press like this where there's this space right here, then that's going to limit the amount of weight that you can do. If you're in a Metcon and you're doing 45 barbell push presses and that's not heavy for you and you can just rock out a bunch of push presses just kind of going like this and just bouncing around, then that's fine. But if you're trying to do heavy push presses, then you got to have it on your shoulders. You need that stable shelf to support that weight, and your elbows have to be up enough to get it to be actually resting on your shoulders and not being only in your hands. Okay? So that's point number 1. Point number 2 is that ideally your hands would be all the way closed. See a lot of people, they get to here and their hands are a little bit open. Again, you see people doing push presses where they get to here and it's light enough where they don't even close their hands and they're just kind of rocking out push presses like this, and they're kind of just going through the motion with super light weight, and they don't even close their hands all the way. Again, that's fine. If you're in a Metcon and you're going for speed, you can have your heels off the ground, you can just be bouncing around with light weight, rocking out reps real fast, no big deal. But with heavy weight, ideally, you would still have your hands all the way closed. That way when you dip, your elbows are up, it's on this stable shelf of your shoulders, and then when you press it out, you already have your hands closed and you don't have to catch it halfway like you might do with a jerk. Same thing with jerks, though. Ideally, you'd have your hands closed the whole time. Point number 2 is a lot of people talk about pushing your head through at the top of the movement, which for a lot of people, I should go this way, which for a lot of people ends up like this. They get the bar not quite all the way overhead, and then to get their head through, they kind of push through like this. Okay, that happens often. If you look at me from here, that happens very often where, to use this pole as a reference, their hands are out in front of them a little bit, and then to make it look like they got a full range of motion, they kind of push their head through like that. If you're in a competition, that might make the repetition count, but ideally from a shoulder health standpoint, instead of pushing your head forward, you would want to pull your hands back overhead like that. Okay? So pushing your head through doesn't necessarily mean exactly what it says, where you push your head forward. It also means, or rather than pushing your head forward, you're going to pull your hands back so your arms are 100% vertical and you're not compensating by falling into that forward head posture position, which is just bad posture no matter where you are. So, if you're at work and you're sitting at your desk like this, this is forward head posture. You're pushing your head through the window all day long, and that's bad posture, and that's going to lead to shoulder injuries and whatnot down the line. So when we think about shoulder health and overhead work, we're thinking about a couple of key things. Number 1, forward head posture usually means that you round your upper back also. If you have a round upper back, it's very hard to reach all the way overhead, so you can even try that yourself. We talked about this a little bit in Maximum Mobility. I had the whole audience there that day. Everyone slumps over like this and then tries to raise their hands over their head, and you can't do it. You can't do it as well, rather. If you can get a fully extended thoracic spine, and then when you raise your arms, it's much easier because you have a relatively flat upper back and you're not all hunched over like that. Okay? The other thing, and I give you a little drawing over here. If you have a rounded over upper back, that's going to be hard to reach overhead. The other thing is if I sit chronically in this position, then I tend to get very tight muscles kind of on the back of my neck underneath my traps here. That muscle specifically is called your Levator Scapulae. It's one of your downward rotators of your scapula. So what happens when you reach overhead is that if I'm facing the wall like this, and these would be my shoulder blades on my back here, okay? Usually they're resting kind of, pretty parallel to each other. And when I reach overhead, they rotate up like this, and it makes it where I have more space to reach overhead. So the actual motion that happens at my shoulder joint, if I don't move my scapula, I can go to about here, but then after that, I have to raise and upwardly rotate my scapula to reach all the way overhead. Okay? So if I have to upwardly rotate when I reach overhead, if I start overhead and do something like a pull-up and I'm already upwardly rotated, then I have to downwardly rotate on the way down. So I need strong downward rotators for pulling exercises, for vertical pulling, and I need strong upward rotators when I'm pressing overhead. The reason I bring all this up is that if I'm rounded over like this and that levator scapulae muscle gets very tight, and actually you get a tight pec minor, which is also a downward rotator. If those downward rotators get very tight, it means it's going to be very hard to upwardly rotate when I need to. Okay? And the reason that I need to upwardly rotate, if you look here, if my shoulder sits in the socket just like this, you can see up top here there's this little bone. That's called urochromien. Okay? And so if I lift my arm overhead and I try to reach all the way up, if I don't move my scapula, my upper arm, this part of my arm here, which is this line here, runs into that bone. Ideally, you'd have a little bit of space there where if I upwardly rotate all the way, well now my upper arm doesn't run in, and there's a little bit of space here where my supraspinatus tendon and my bursa sacs and other soft tissue structures that lie between those bones don't get smashed, which means that I don't impinge, and then I'm less likely to get shoulder pain. If I can't upwardly rotate all the way because I have very tight downward rotators, like I was saying, because I'm in this position all day, then I'm more likely to get shoulder pain because of this impingement type problem. So, again, when we push press or press overhead in any way, I don't want to fall into that position like this. Instead, I want to pull my hands back over my head, and that's how I push my head through the window. So it's kind of a confusing term, but that's what it really means. Pull your hands back, don't push your head forward into that poor posture position, and you'll have better shoulder health for the long term. So I hope that makes sense. If you have questions about it, definitely drop us a line, either on Twitter or on the Barbell Shrugged Facebook page. We can help clear up any confusion. Thanks, guys.
And we're back. That's from something. If you know what that's from, I don't remember. Tweet me about it.
Sound like Bill Cosby.
Or some SNL skit from a bygone era.
All right, guys. Real quick, check out our T-shirts. You can go to the website.
Sweet.
Go to barbellshrug.com. Click on the shop, and you can score you a sweet Barbell Shrug T-shirt. You'll be the coolest kid in your gym, I promise.
You'll get 10 points added to your score just by wearing it.
That's right, at least, no matter what it is. And then make sure to hang out at the end of this. CTP's been putting together some footage of just stuff he collects each week, and he's tacking it on the end of the Barbell Shrugged episode. You can kind of get a peek into our daily lives in the gym and maybe at our homes. Who knows? I don't even know when he's filming any now.
He may have sneak behind the scenes footage of me preparing our cheat meal for the week.
Might.
This morning, which was fresh French toast made with day-old country bread. So full of yeast and gluten, it was ridiculous.
That's a good way to get huge.
Now,
that'd be
that's the thing.
a less than optimal way to get huge.
But clean eating during the week and a carb flood session at the end of the week, a specific strategy.
Yes, that can be
and
very
some
good.
would argue, me included, that it's the way to go.
One thing I want to talk about is how it's, since I was 15 years old and I started training, it's been my goal to put on muscle mass. And I don't think I stopped trying to put on muscle mass until the last, say, year or so. And then I finally kind of got to where I want to be right now. And I struggled my whole life with using different supplements, using these mass gainer, ridiculous supplements. I chased the dragon all over the place.
I'm sure some of our beloved fans are struggling with chasing that damn dragon down right now.
And some people, especially the women out there, are like, well, I know how to gain, well,
or maybe
I guess I don't think their voices are that deep. But they're like,
Or
I know how to gain weight. I can eat Twinkies on the couch and I'll put on weight.
no.
And I hear girls say that all the time. It's like, it's so easy to gain weight. No, it is not easy to gain high quality weight. It is much harder to gain weight than it is to lose weight. I promise
People don't believe it. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So we've talked about kind of why it's important, and we're going to talk about how to do it. And some of the things that we've done, we're not going to touch a lot on what was unsuccessful for us. I want to talk a lot about what has been successful. And then me personally, because I've been what's considered a hard gainer. And a lot of times what separates a hard gainer from somebody who gains weight easily is appetite. So there's a lot of variables that go into that.
A lot of people just can't really eat that much.
Yeah, I'm always, I'm usually full before other people are, but I've developed some methods for getting past that. And so if you think you're a hard gainer, and if you put yourself in that camp, then you probably are someone who has a hard time, who struggles with putting on high quality mass. So I've struggled with that pretty much my whole adult life and some of my adolescent life. I've always wanted to do it. And so I've done it the wrong way. I did it the wrong way for like 12, 13, 14 years.
Listen to us now so you don't waste precious years.
So I'm going to tell you right now exactly what I did about a year and a half ago that gave me the weight that I wanted really, really fast. Now, this is not something that everybody has the opportunity to do because I own my own business, and I was able to take off 10 days where I didn't get very much work done at all, and I run my own schedule. But I'm just going to tell you guys exactly what I did. That way you can kind of, if you have the type of freedom that I do, then you can pursue this. But if you don't, then you might get some nuggets or pearls out of it.
And not to say we don't know ways to adapt it to anybody's schedule to reap the big benefits.
Right. So this was
your experimentation. This is doing it the right way.
Yeah. This is something that I did in an ideal environment. I was living like a professional athlete only for 10 days. So in 10 days, my plan was to go 30 days. But it was one of those things where
it's kind of like a weird supersize me challenge.
It was a little taxing. So what I did was I adopted a training program that was a weightlifting program, that it was higher volume. And one of the benefits from doing higher volume training is
lots of reps, lots of sets.
Yeah, a lot of sets, a lot of reps. One of the benefits to doing that type of training is that it breaks down a lot of muscle, causes a lot of hormonal things to happen in your body to cause it to want to grow. The other thing too is if you do a lot of work, your appetite will go up too. So one of the things I did is I actually trained earlier in the day so that I would have a bigger appetite for the rest of the day. So what I would do is I would do a weightlifting program where I was spending about 2 hours of just lifting, pretty intense. And then
long workout.
And then what I would do is I would immediately go home. So I would drink like a workout shake. It was a mix of whey protein and say waxy maize. While I trained, I probably consumed 35 grams of protein, about 70 grams of carbohydrates while I trained. Then I would go home and I would get a gallon of raw goat's milk.
And then masturbate.
No, I did not do that.
You don't masturbate at least twice a day when you're going through a bulking phase?
I think that might be beneficial, but
it gets the stress right out. And then you can go right to sleep like a baby.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Well, that would probably work, but I didn't document that portion.
Masturbate.
Oh my God. All right. I apologize for Chris's behavior.
No, I'm not. I was kind of joking, but yeah, I mean, if you got stress problems, get after it.
Yeah. That'll work. So what I would do is I would go home immediately, and I gave myself a 2-hour window. I made it a competition with myself as to see how fast I could finish a gallon of milk, raw goat's milk, if I could finish it faster than I did the day before. Every day it took me about 2 hours. So I would sit down at my laptop and I would do my work. I would check my email. I would work on my projects. I would do stuff like that for 2 hours with a lot of milk in front of me. I would just pour a glass, drink it, and I would get a whole gallon of milk down and take me about 2 hours after training. After that, I would take an hour and a half nap. So what I did was I tore my body up. I put it through training that would increase my appetite.
Advanced tough training.
Yeah, it would cause my testosterone to go up, things like that. Then I would consume milk, which was also going to cause insulin to go up. All of these hormones,
and
which
the
are
most important
anabolic.
thing you're describing is that it's not just, I'm going to drink a gallon of milk a day, which people have heard of before, but it's careful attention to when you're going to try to get that done.
Right. I wasn't spreading it out throughout the day. I considered doing that, but knowing what I do about physiology and nutrition, it is optimal to do it after you train if you're wanting to put on muscle mass.
You might get a big result if that milk was drunk throughout the day a little bit, all midday, because that's when your appetite was better, but you trained at night or you trained in the morning. If you drank it right before you went to bed, that same kind of calorie, the same quality, the same amount has a different effect depending on when you consumed it.
That's right.
It's an important consideration.
Yeah, if you train in the morning and you wait till that night to chug that milk, then you're more likely going to put on more fat mass and not as much muscle mass.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to do is, again, this ideal situation, I would take an hour and a half nap. So an hour and a half to 2 hour nap. And then I would wake up, I would do a little more work. I would drink some green tea, and then I would go to the gym and I would coach for about 4 hours. I would go home and I would go to bed and I would get 8 to 9 hours at night. So I was sleeping 8 to 9 hours a night. I was getting an hour and a half nap in the afternoon. I was drinking a gallon of milk right after training. And I was training about 5 days a week. And in 10 days, I put on 10 pounds.
Holy, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is this the hugification project?
Yeah. I started something called, let's not talk about the name of it. So, yeah.
Oh, that's a teaser.
Was that where I was going to Walmart on a daily basis to buy Nesquik?
Yeah, so CTP was actually
Where'd you keep all this goat milk?
in my freezer.
No, you had like 20 gallons of goat milk just stored back there.
Every week I would drive and go pick some up.
Just fill up the truck with
Yeah, a lot.
like $200 worth of goat milk.
Yeah, it was like $8 a gallon.
Oh,
Yeah, it got expensive quick.
but it sounds like
My
the
wife
results-
was not happy.
The ends justified the means.
So I gained 10 pounds, and CTP brought up a funny point. I just thought about that, or he reminded me, is while I was doing this, I was having to alternate. So on some days, I was having to put some chocolate in my milk because it was getting way too taxing to drink a whole gallon of milk every
At the end,
single day.
you were like Ron Burgundy drinking the milk in the hot weather. You're like, this is just a terrible decision.
Yeah.
There's only so, like your mouth can only take so much dairy depositing.
That would be my job for
So CTP was interning for Faction.
You
at
were
the time.
CTI,
And he was CTI. And so I was like, hey, dude, here's $10. Go to Walmart and go get me some chocolate syrup. And he's like, seriously? I was like, yeah, that's what you're doing. Go get an intern. So he
build that resume.
he saved my life a couple times. Yeah, so there were days where I would train and then I was drinking the milk while I was coaching. But in that time, I put on 10 pounds in 10 days. And I forget exactly how much my squat went up, but it went up a good bit. I remember it went up my back squat went up like 25 pounds in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It just popped right up there. And it was funny because a lot of the weight I put on was muscular. It was muscle mass.
Muscular.
But it was funny because I spent 15 years of my life trying to do all these weird, take all these weird supplements, all this stuff, and these crazy bodybuilding training programs. And I feel like when I did that, I was like, oh, this is how you gain weight. This is how you have to do it. And it's not always fun. It's a big challenge. It is very, very hard. I was tired the whole time. But it was 10 pounds in 10 days, which is incredibly fast.
So you could probably have a little more balanced approach that also takes into consideration other competing demands and set a goal that's 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months to actually do it a really effective way.
That's what's funny is because it was like how you conduct research. A lot of times you hyperdose in research so that you can get effects in a short period of time.
That, and you are Michael Bledsoe. You don't do anything halfway. What
No.
volume did you turn it to? Figuratively speaking.
11.
Yes. Turned it to 11.
Turn it to 11. So I find that some of the most valuable lessons I've ever learned is when I take it to the extreme. Kind of like if you ever have to lose weight really fast for weight cutting, you learn some things about how to get leaner
that's your
fast.
focus. You're going after it as hard as possible.
Right. So I took away a lot of pearls or nuggets from that. And
Nuggets.
Pearls and nuggets.
Pearls and nuggets, bitches.
so like what ended up happening is I was like, I figured out the key things that were necessary to gain weight out of that. So not just that, but you can back off that a little bit and you can have a real job and there are ways that you can put on weight.
But you reminded me of a great nugget that Brian and I, the good Dr. Schilling, used to. I said nugget subconscious. I wasn't trying to say nugget. We both agreed independently on what one of the most important things to do, I guess you could even argue in life, it's pretty important, but diet and nutrition, what is really important for you to do? Things should either be really low, like if you're going to take a break, it should be a break. If you're going to rest and recover, you should really rest and recover. If you're going to, push things up to try to get some sort of effect, you should really train hard. You should really eat what you need to eat. You should really focus on recovery. Okay, the extremes are what give you results, and pretty much depending on what you need, equal results. If you're beat up and need a break, you need to take a friggin' break. If you want to lose weight, you want to get your life sorted, you have to put focus on it. But what the danger is this bullshit medium zone. If you take a medium approach to training, nutrition, your life, your relationships, anything, you're going to get bullshit medium results. Like if you're going to go, well, I'm going to try to gain weight, but I'm going to gain weight. That kind of attitude. If you're going to take a break, but I still want to do some stuff to get a pump. If you're going to train really hard, but I've got this other stuff I'm also focusing on. You're not going to really understand where the high and low are. Like, how do you know you're eating a lot until you've really eaten a lot? How do you know you've really understood how you put on weight until you've really gotten an effect? How are you going to know if you really recover unless you're fully... It goes on and on. Until you know where your ends are, until you... Like the whole Hunter S. Thompson quote said, like, I had to push it over the edge so I could understand where the edge was. People who never try to find it never get close.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how many times I've had guys that were trying to gain weight, and they go, man, I eat all the time. I'm like, all right.
What are you eating?
Fill out a diet log for a single day. And they don't even bring it back to me because they go, oh, wait, I wasn't eating as much as I thought.
The act of writing it down made them realize that they weren't trying hard.
Yeah.
Like in your life, everything feels like you're doing it really hard. Like everybody, if you ask somebody how they're doing on a Tuesday afternoon, they go, I'm super busy, bro. I'm so busy. Are you that busy? Well, I got up at 7 and I had to be at work by 8. And then I worked till 11. And I got like an hour for lunch and I worked till like 5. And I had to go to the gym and then go to the store. And I went home. Well, that's just life. You're not busy, asshole. You're just doing what it takes to be a person. Versus, same thing goes for training. Oh, I trained so hard. Well, I'm sure it felt hard for you. But then you see a guy who's really getting results. Like then you try to like watch Rich or our buddy Asia train, and you go, "Oh, Jesus Christ, this guy's ridiculous."
Yeah.
But then just by witnessing that thing, just by having the light, pulled, shown onto your face, you go, "Holy shit!" Like, and then you go back when you train, you go, "I got to turn up a notch," and you do, even if it's like a little bit more. You're already better because you just witnessed an idea that changed your perspective.
Yeah. I remember perfect example of this is I remember I was training with some guys that were about this as strong as I was for weightlifting. The first year I was training, I went to the American Open, and I remember my coach, who was
big meat hashtag.
Yeah, Brian Schilling was my coach at the time, and he kept on telling me I need to be faster when I jerk, and I go, I'm going as fast as I can.
I'm so fast already.
I go to the American Open. I'm watching them in the training hall, and I see how fast they jerk. And I go, oh, that fast. That's what he means.
And you weren't making mistakes. You weren't, fucking up. You weren't being lazy. You were really thinking and trying to move fast.
Right. And that, what's funny is I went home 2 days later, and I jerked faster than I'd ever had before. Like, it went up really fast. It was really easy. And that all I had to do was realize what a fast jerk really looked like. And I was like, oh, I'll do it like that.
So look, if you've got, and there may be opportunities to discuss it, but if you are struggling in your situation to gain weight, to get results, to lose weight, to reach whatever it is you want to reach, in this case, gain good quality weight and be stronger, you may honestly feel you're doing everything you can. You may really be in a place where you're doing your best. But having professional insight and have somebody look at what you're doing and give you some sort of template and just have you walk you through steps and show you that, look, here's your aha moment like you experienced with the bar moving. Here's your aha things. That's what you need to get that next big jump in your progress. You need the outside eye to see what you cannot see.
Yeah, you need objectivity.
Confucius say you need outside eye to see what cannot be seen.
But you got to be objective, People... You cannot look at your own life and be objective. You're going to make excuses. Yeah, you're going to make excuses. Yeah, that's everything. So one of the things we've been discussing here with the Barbell Shrug crew has been discussing is putting together a program for men and women, if you're interested.
Yeah, it's important for everybody to increase. We say get huge. What we're saying is get real important improvements in your lean body mass that will change your life, basically.
Yeah, we're talking about putting together a program that'll get you bigger and stronger. It's going to last. We want it to, and this is not set in concrete yet. We're kind of just throwing it out there, seeing what kind of feedback we get from you guys and what kind of interest this draws.
But we want this to sort of be like a community-derived, massively influential and powerful thing that comes together, that we interact with the community to get this thing going that's really remarkable. Like, we had this grand vision for what this could actually be.
One of my goals was, and when we were discussing doing this, is putting together a 6-month program that helps people gain the muscle mass and strength they need to be competitive in CrossFit. Because kind of like what I talked about earlier is if you do not sit back and
Did
really...
you say donut?
if you
do not do that,
subliminal
you
message.
will do not be successful.
Subliminal messages. So like if you want to keep doing Metcons 5 days a week and think that you're on the fast track to being a CrossFit Games athlete, then you're not strong enough yet, you're probably wrong. What you need to do is step back, take 6 months, get bigger, get stronger. And what we want to do is put together a program that lasts that long, that's going to be, you're going to have a start date and an end date, and there's going to be coaching along the way to help you out.
And you're going to have success.
Yeah, you will have success.
I think I almost present it as like a call to arms, a dare that for those of you who have done things, you think you understand what it takes, you're pretty sure on the right track, but you're not getting results. Like, we challenge you to take the opportunity to like pull the veil or have the veil pulled from your eyes to see a different path. Like, I think it's going to be a really exciting thing.
Y'all did five months with me, and I added 150 to my squat.
You added 150 to your squat in 5 months?
150 pounds?
From what you guys told me.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
If you want to get huge, if you want to gain 150 pounds in your squat by tomorrow, listen to this show. By the gods, you'll have success.
So this is exactly what we're proposing. 6-month program, and there's going to be a private Facebook group. So if you join, you're going to have myself, Doug, or Chris Moore as a coach. And you are also going to be, there's going to be a lot of people in the Facebook group that are trying to gain weight as well. We're going to give you a training program. And one of the things that I want to kind of talk about with that is we don't want to give you a training program that is going to totally take away from your cross fitness. All right.
Or your life or anything. Yeah.
You're still going to do conditioning. It's going to be the type of conditioning that's going to not hinder your ability to gain weight and get stronger. It's going to be the type of conditioning that's going to help you out. There's going to be skill work involved, so you don't lose things like muscle ups and some of those gymnastic stuff. It's going to be a program that's going to promote not just muscular growth and getting bigger, but it's going to make you stronger. And only that, there's going to be an Olympic lifting component, a strong Olympic weightlifting component, so that you're actually improving your weightlifting skills, which most CrossFitters have a hard time getting better at already. So there's going to be a strong weightlifting component to it.
It sounds like, and what I think the vision is that this is not something that we take off a shelf digitally, figuratively speaking, and hand it to you and you just do. I think this is a developed, awesome community effort where you're giving awesome information that's been refined and individualized. You're having an experience and you're getting continuous feedback that's sort of fed back into this machine that gets better and better results as time goes on.
You'll do your workouts. You'll share your results for your training results back with the coaches. You'll be able to share your training results with the other people that are in the program. Let's see what else. We're going to, at the end of it, we're going to hold, I think sometime in October. And I want to synchronize this with the end of the weight gain challenge program, whatever. I want to have the Barbell Shrugged Championships at Faction Strength Conditioning here in Memphis, where we're going to have a big weightlifting meet. It's also going to be a last chance to qualify for the American Open.
Cool.
It's going to be about 6 weeks before the American Open, and we're going to...
You'll It would even be cool to have like a little bit of a CrossFit Open type vibe. I don't know about this time, but in time like where community people can sort of test and report their outcomes or a video of their progress at the beginning and end, just so we can sort of capture and share this in some sort of.
What is that doing?
Oh, you didn't know?
Oh my God. Are we recording over ourselves?
CTP.
All right, we got to take a break. Technical issue. All right.
And we're back.
We're back. We had a technical issue, which we had 2 technical issues today. I apologize. Hopefully you will forgive us. I want to go back real quick. The program we're talking about implementing, we want it to start right after the Open. So it'll be mid-April, and it's going to run until about mid-October. So it'll give you enough time to get back in shape for the CrossFit Games season 2014. You're going to... What was the other thing we want to talk about? Oh, yeah. We need to name it. So this is not set in stone. This is a program that we kind of dreamt up. I've seen a lot of questions come in over Twitter and Facebook about gaining weight, but still wanting to stay CrossFit.
We think no one can do it as good as we, and no one else has even tried yet.
That's right. So we'll be the first.
We'll change lives.
That's right.
But you have a proposition.
So the proposition is we don't know what to name this thing. So we want to put together this program to help you gain weight, be a better CrossFitter, and be bigger and stronger, more robust, but we don't know what to call it. So if you can, please go to our fan page on Facebook, or go to our Twitter on Twitter
At Barbell Shrugged.
Yep. Tweet to us or post on the fan page
here's
what
the Twitter
you
name
suggest.
right here. CTP's going to put the link, right?
No, he's nodding no.
He's not. No,
Yeah.
he's not. You never take my editorial expertise into consideration. But then again, my name does not include the word producer, so I'm just going to shut up.
So we need a name for this. Please submit it. Do we want to? Nah, I don't know if we should do that.
Well, you should probably do what you're thinking.
We should.
Yeah.
What?
All right.
The incentive?
Yeah.
Yeah, offer it.
Oh, yeah. You think we should?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, if we even do it.
Okay. If we do it, if we pick the name that you suggest, we will put you in the program for free. It'll be a 6-month program.
And then I will personally make sure that you get a Barbell Shrugged t-shirt.
And you'll also get the coach of your choice, myself, Chris, or Doug.
Or maybe a little taste of each of us.
If you have any suggestions on what the name should be, or if there's something about the program that you'd like to see included, let us know. We will, if this is something that garners a lot of attention, if this is something that you guys really want to have, and we get a lot of good feedback on Twitter and Facebook, then we will do it. If we don't get a lot of feedback on it, it might be something, like, all right, well, maybe we'll try it again in 6 months or a year from now.
It could be super cool because this could actually be the first of its kind and say, we have a community of people who need something. They'll tell us what they need, and we'll combine it with expertise to deliver exactly what you need. Exactly what would help you become a more awesomer version of yourself.
That's right.
Not some generic thing that you think can help you. Like this power thing I do, this weight thing I do, that it works for them, and maybe I can co-opt it. No, we're going to build something for you.
Yeah, and that's something I don't like about, like people would say, do you like Outlaw or OPT or CrossFit.com or Faction, our programming.
Or even maybe other stuff like doing 5.
What do you like? I'm like, well, it depends on what your goal is. And if your goal is to go to the 2014 games and you aren't deadlifting 500 and you don't clean 315, then you have got to step back away from those general programs that are all-inclusive fitness, because they all are. You may be getting stronger on them, but you will get to where you want to be faster if you dedicate your time to something like this. So what we want to do is provide something like that, have a community aspect to it. So you will have brothers and sisters in arms trying to help you out as you go along. And it should be a little bit of I want it to be a community aspect on Facebook, so that people can be like, oh man, it's so tough. I didn't get my shakedown this morning or something like that.
Built into the thing.
Yeah, and one of the things I want to do too, I kind of left out, is we are going to give you not only a training program, but we're going to give you nutritional changes to make on a regular basis, challenges for eating more food, give you exactly what to eat, what type of food, and when to eat it. We're going to give you very, very specific goals, and they're going to be action-oriented goals, things that you can say, I did or didn't do that. It's not going to be like, did you gain 5 pounds a day? It'll be like, did you eat 5 times a day, and was it these things? And then there'll probably be some rest and recovery stuff in there too. If you're not getting enough rest and recovery, it's our job as coaches who are monitoring like the Facebook group or something like that. If you say, hey, I've only been able to get 6 hours of sleep the last 3 nights, we'll be like, you know what? You should skip training today and focus on eating instead. Or if it's someone who is doing this and this and this, you're like, you know what?
That's the kind of call
Keep
it's
it up.
really hard to make unless somebody's monitoring what's going on.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do that on your own, man.
Yeah. Again, go back to being objective versus subjective.
And I was
for
saying we
yourself.
gotta get our friend at CrossFit Chickasaw to do this, Mr. Froman, who needs to gain a few pounds.
That's
still.
right.
Robbie made a good step or two in the right direction, but you should get on this bandwagon.
I think
you should be first in line.
Robbie is probably listening right now, and sometime in the future, and if not, we'll force him to listen to it.
Robbie, do this.
Yes, Robbie.
You should be the first one on the Facebook wall with a suggestion, bro.
So-
You need to get hugified. So that's that. So give us your feedback.
Yeah,
please.
if it's something you guys are interested in, let us know.
On the topic of naming things, you want to pitch, because right now we've been calling our fans something.
Oh,
What? And we have another proposition.
Yeah.
2 propositions in one show. Man, alive.
we're going to cause a lot of confusion here. So, yeah, CTP has been in charge of the Barbell Shrugged fan page. Doug, Chris, and I get on there as well and do some stuff. But CTP is the main one on there. He's been using the term Shrug Nation a little bit on the fan page. But we were kind of thinking, I mean,
What do you want to be called?
we do like the name, but like
I felt like I was stepping on John North's toes
Yeah,
with
we
that
don't-
attitude nation.
And we love John. We don't want to
love
step.
John,
Yeah,
so-
yeah, John North,
he's carved out that space.
Yeah, we don't want to step on your toes. So if you guys have any suggestions on how we should refer to the fans of Barbell Shrugged, then let those be known on Twitter and Facebook as well,
We're a
please.
big, awesome, rapidly developing, kick-ass community of awesome people. we need our thing, baby.
That's right.
We need our thing. What's that thing going to be?
And we have no ideas ourselves. So and we're lazy. So
We're slothful from French toast breakfast today.
all right, guys, we're gonna wrap this show up. Thanks for tuning in. We had fun discussing this day, and I look forward to seeing the posts on Twitter and Facebook later.
Shirts have shipped, motherfuckers.
That's right.
Looking forward to garage games. Come out to garage games.
First batch of shirts was shipped, so we actually sold them all. So I've got a second batch. So I don't know how long this pre-order thing will go on.
High five.
Until we catch up on our inventory. So,
Exactly.
yep.
Till the next time.
All right. Enjoy the CTP cam.
Shock up, bruh. Fade out slowly.
Nothing to do, that's right. I'll live without you. You know we had a separate way. Big ass truck happened, and it feels like I am just too close to love. Wah, 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 wah.
You gotta say it.
Into this mic, Michael.
Love tits, you guys.
You get off my fucking expensive chairs, please? Get out of there. Get your hairy ass.
We on barbell.
Jeez.
Can't even get the first word out of my mouth. We ready?
No.
Lots of coffee coming.
No.
At the old house when we had
What you making, bro?
we shut our bedroom
We're
door.
making French
And
toast
they didn't like
CTP.
it, or Allie didn't like it.
French
She
toast.
sat in front of our bedroom door and
Least
picked a
paleo
hole in
breakfast
the carpet.
you can
So I'm
make.
like, if they fuck up this house, I swear to God, I'm gonna kill them.
We are holding a small weightlifting meet for the faction weightlifting team. We didn't feel like putting on a big competition and do all that work. So we put something on small for our lifters so that they can qualify for some national competition. Change Ashley to 52 kilos. Yep. So most of our lifters today, we're about 2 months out, a little over 2 months out from the University National. So we have a lot of college students that are gonna qualify for University Nationals today. We should be taking 4 or 5 lifters with us. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So this is a practice competition for them. It's for qualifying, and some other people just want to compete to practice. So it's going to be just a little fun meet, nothing crazy.
You ever take a shower where you're like super clean and then you dry off with a towel that you've used a few times and then you smell like an old towel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks.
That's me today. Fuck.
The only opinion I have on my yard is I want it to be nice.
That's not an opinion, that's a statement.
Thank you.
There you go.
That's so cute.
As long as when I go out there, I enjoy it, I don't care.
Do I have an opinion?
I don't care how it got that way. I don't care how long it takes.
Yeah.
I do care how much it costs.
You want to give a plug now, Jason?
Plug? What would the plug be? Plug for what? Picture Perfect?
Jason here. He owns a business that takes care of my yard, which is magnificent, by the way.
Among other people with Action as well.
Yep. The name of his business is Picture Perfect Landscaping. Landscapes.
Everybody messes that up though.
Maybe you should change the name of your business.
He also does picture perfect manscaping.
Oh, please don't go there.
And if you live in Memphis, you should hire this guy. If you only want a good-looking yard, if you're looking for the bare minimum, wrong place. Only good stuff.
She only loved me for my French toast. Bacon.
You.
So, eating into my 10 hours.
This week on Barbell Shrugged, we talk about gaining weight. How do we do that, Chris?
French toast and beef roast.